Hey there, welcome to day 894 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, talking about and sharing the journey, the business journey, from offline brick and mortar, real businesses, to online business. Sometimes it's a total transformation and we go 100% online, like I have been doing for the last couple of years. Other times it's just adding an online component to your existing offline business. If you have a restaurant, if you have a salon, if you have an e-commerce business, if you're selling products or services, if you have a manufacturing business, which is my forte, how do you take and add a component of that online? Which during COVID-19, the people that I've worked with that have done that prior to COVID-19 were delighted and excited, because although business for most everybody's in some way, shape, or form has changed or stopped entirely, the people that had an online component had ways to still continue to reach and serve and add value to customers that they've created previously. And those that hadn't made that transition yet have massively migrated to the internet. Those, of course, that are being proactive and not just waiting for the world to go back to normal. The world's not going back to the way it was before. We either change and evolve with the changes that happen in our world and in our environment, or we cease to exist. We cease to exist in the way that our business was running before. So today, I'd like to share an idiom with my Supersize Your Business group every day, and with business owners every day, because it reminds us that we have the power to define everything that happens to us, every experience, every outside impact that hits us, or that we need to have a response to. And I say response, not reaction. To me, a reaction is automatic. A response is considered, thought out, and purposeful. So there's always going to be things that happen outside of our control, right? I don't know anybody that has absolute control over anything and everything in their life. They might have absolute control over, the only absolute control we have over anything is over ourselves, and how we react or respond to all of the stuff that happens in our life, all of the experiences that we have. So today's idiom was babe in the woods. And I don't, everybody's been a babe in the woods at something at some time in their life. So I think everyone can relate to this idiom, this story. It's based on a story, a really disturbing story from 1595 in England called The Children in the Woods, when a rich uncle, or not a rich uncle, an uncle was in charge of caring for his niece and nephew, who were very rich. And instead of being in charge of them and taking care of them and loving them, he decided he was going to kill them and take their money, inherit their money. Sounds a lot like Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events to me, but it's a terrible story. But one of the people hired to kill the kids felt sorry for them, so instead of killing them, he went ahead and put them in the woods and left them in the woods. Well, they didn't survive. They perished anyway, and I'm sure the uncle inherited the money, which is really pathetic. But it's just, it's not even, I don't know if it's a true story, but I would suspect that sometime in the world and in life, this actual story has played out, and probably more than once, probably hundreds and hundreds of times, much to our chagrin and dismay. There's incredible things that happen in the world that I am naive to and inexperienced with, and I will choose to stay naive and inexperienced to them, because I don't want to know about all of the evil and horrible things that other people can come up with. I can't imagine it. I don't get it. I don't understand what drives people to do evil, mean, horrendous things to other human beings or animals or anything else. So I'm outside my level of experience, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want to attract any of that nonsense into my life ever, for me or anyone I love and care about. So it's just a tale that reminds us, and I like the meaning out of it, that hey, when we're experienced and new, don't be a babe in the woods, don't be so naive, and don't underestimate your own ability to figure things out. We always figure it out. We always find a way, if we want to find a way. The only time we don't find a way, or we don't figure things out, or we don't end up getting what we want or being successful in any area or aspect of our life, is because on some level we don't want it to happen. Maybe we don't think we're good enough, maybe we don't think we deserve it, maybe it really isn't in our best interest. Have you ever been attracted to someone and they weren't attracted to you back, right? They maybe rejected you, or You weren't the right fit for them. Guess what? There was a reason that person and you aren't together. There's a reason you don't get in business with everyone you meet. There's a reason, and it's usually something we don't see on the surface, we don't understand, we don't feel it, we don't get it, and we feel hurt or rejected when it's really just that situation, that relationship, that business, that whatever isn't in your best interest. It isn't for you. And our subconscious has this incredible way of protecting us. It doesn't always protect us in ways that are really in our best interest. It just protects us. Our subconscious and our intuition, everything protects us. Not our intuition, that's a level deeper, but our subconscious protects us based on what's worked in the past. So I think of the movie Blindside. I saw it last week with my sister up at the cabin, and I love that movie. But the little boy's mom taught him to close his eyes whenever something bad was happening. Just close your eyes, baby, right? And so he actually closed his eyes through all the bad things that happened. And he was in a terrible environment, but he didn't see any of those things. And because he didn't see any of those things, he didn't take with him the negative effects of those experiences. He didn't experience them and take them into himself because he didn't actually see them going on. So since he didn't see them, he had the ability to shift and change and move out of that situation and move on with his life in the direction he wanted it to go. And it was incredibly successful. And I think that's part of the difference between people that are in tough situations and get out against all odds, and people that never get out and just follow the same path over and over and over again that they're surrounded by and experiencing. So obviously I'm thinking a lot about that today. Fun challenge today was a day 184, I think. Day 185. I'm always a day behind when I'm thinking about that. Day 185 of our 365-day challenge to do one fun thing every day. And again, I think I've shared that I started that challenge, and I actually started it 3 years ago. It was just to do a video every day, and it was to wake my voice up. And so I had to have a quick and dirty way that I could make a short video that would wake up my voice. Because sometimes, some mornings, I wake up and I can't hardly get it out, even with lemon water and coffee. My voice is still sleeping, even though I'm wide awake. And so to wake my voice up, I started doing a daily challenge. And it's always like 1 or 2 minutes. Sometimes I think they've gone 3. And maybe early on, the first year when I was doing one thing a day that scared me, those were probably longer. They might have gone 5 or 10 minutes. They were longer, but they allowed me the opportunity to wake up my voice. And then, so I did that for a year, do one thing a day that scares you. Then last year I did do one thing a day that makes you happy, because I wanted to have more happiness in my life. And it was a huge transition year for me. It was finally getting over and finishing up all of the asset separation with my ex-husband for my divorce, and a lot of changes along with that. So I wanted to find ways to find happiness every day in sometimes really emotionally laden, crazy days. And this year, and I'm so glad I picked it, this year was to do one fun thing every day. And I'm so glad, because I've been hanging out with my granddaughter, who is amazing. And I was telling one of my coaching students yesterday, if it weren't for my amazing little granddaughter, Etta, I think COVID would have been, and all the separation things would have been a lot more miserable for me and everybody else, because she just brings so much joy and love and light and curiosity and creativity and fun into my life that I'm glad I picked fun. Number 1, to warm my voice up. Number 2, because it gives me one positive way to start my day and look for something fun. Guess what? Do you think I only find one fun thing in my day every day now? No, absolutely not. As I'm going throughout my day, I find fun things all the time. Well, today's challenge was about drawing something smelly. Now, I gotta admit, I don't think I've ever, in my entire 60 years, drawn something smelly for the fun of it. So it just goes to show you there's always a different way of looking at things. There's always a different perspective on everything, including fun. So I actually drew out some things. I drew out poop, because of course poop is smelly and the dogs are home for a week. So I thought first and foremost of poop. When you think of smelly, what is the very first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, I think it's poop, right? Poop. Everybody's poop stinks. Sorry, if you think your poop doesn't stink, your poop smells just as poopy as everybody else's poop. Mine included, right? Poop stinks sometimes. Sometimes it stinks, sometimes it doesn't. So that and incense, and then soap, because soap is something that I'm thinking about a lot. But there's also, I've been to some craft fairs and shows and village gatherings and community celebrations, and there's always that table, not always, but in a lot of times there's the table with all the amazing smelling beautiful soaps on them, and so that's always fun. Soap making and candle making. Candle and incense is another thing. So many different smells. I mean, I think last year at Oktoberfest they had earwax soap and dirt soap and all kinds of soap. I'm like, why would you want to wash your hands and have them smell like dirt after you wash your hands? Why would you want them to smell like buttered popcorn? I don't know, but people get a kick out of the different fragrant soap. So I drew some soap, I drew some incense, I drew some poop, and I drew some fireworks, because fireworks, although they are more beautiful than they are smelly, they tend to have a smoky smell with them, and sometimes that smoke has a weird, funky smell to it. So those were my choices for fun things, drawing fun things. And they were not very artistic, but I drew them and it was fun. And I started my day off in a positive, fun way. How often do you purposefully start your day and your morning off in a fun, positive way? I have a morning routine. I have for decades now, but a lot of people don't. Most people don't. Most people hop out of bed or get out of bed after they've hit snooze 5 or 6 times for the alarm. Get out of bed, start your day. Something happens to tip you over. Maybe you spilled toothbrush on your shirt. Maybe you stubbed your toe, whatever. And then you just start to snowball and build all these negative things and negative emotions on top of it, instead of looking for the positive, looking for the good that's in each and every one of our days. Guess what? In every one of our days, mine included, there's bad crap that happens all the time. There's also good, amazing things that happen all the time. I can choose to look at the good things and build on that, or I can choose to let the bad things suck me in like a vacuum cleaner and just build on that, build on all that dirt and negativity. I'm gonna, whenever I consciously can, remember to focus on the positives and the gratitude and things that are working, not on the things that aren't. Get Up and Go Challenge, day 40 today. Doing a 40-day challenge. Was challenged by a group of entrepreneurs to do a personal 40-day challenge. And of course I said yes immediately, because I am all about challenges. I love challenges. And if I'm going to do a challenge, I'm going to bring people along with me. So I launched pretty much immediately, within a couple of days, a 40-day challenge, Get Up and Go challenge. Why did I choose Get Up and Go? Because in the month of April 1st to 30th, and actually to May 1st, I did a 30-day Get Up and Go challenge. A challenge, a free challenge, just to help people know what to do, right? So often we think and we tell ourselves we don't know what to do, and that can kill you, by the way. Actually experience that. If you tell yourself, I don't know what to do often enough and long enough, you will create a situation in your life where you absolutely positively have no control and don't know what to do. You're not conscious and don't know what to do. I'm not even going to get into that. I could go on and on about that, and whether you, part of you, big you is still there, little you is just your body's gone. So to help people know what to do, how to handle, how to know what to do, especially in crazy, chaotic times where you feel like you don't have any control and you don't know what to do. And I'm teaching the framework, the SOAP framework, that can wash up anything. You can wash up and scrub up any situation, and guarantee if you put this framework into your repertoire, your personal toolbox, you always will come out better no matter what happens to you, no matter what situation you find yourself in. So today was day 40, but we're not done yet, because I decided during the challenge, and it was, at least 10 or so days into it, that, and we need 30, I break it up into segments where for 5 days I teach on one area and aspect of our life, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, relationships, contribution, or financial, one of those main areas of our life, through a 5-day cycle. And it was like day 10, or it wasn't probably day 10, but it was after enough days that there weren't 35 days left in the challenge. So we're adding an extra day or so onto the challenge. Guess what? It's a free challenge. I can add as many days as I want and to get the information out to people. So we're adding another day or two for questions and answers. And I thought about it, I think just yesterday or the day before, about adding a whole week of Q&A. And just for a whole week, number one, it kind of buys me time before I decide what I want to launch into next. From a contribution standpoint, what can I do and offer people for free that will add value to their life? It gives me a week to think about that, and what do I really want to do next for my free offerings and for offering people value that they can really move forward in their life what do I want to do next? And it also is a really good service. A lady did this in her challenge last week, and she did a challenge and taught us how to do something. And then instead of adding more to it, people were allowed, they could join the challenge, they could catch up. And she just did feedback through the exercises she had us do, through the things she had us create. And that was really, really valuable. And so I think we could do 5 days of people going through their soap bottle for an area of their life, and we could help and critique and walk them through that. I think that would be fun. I think it'd be really valuable. I mean, I share my examples, but I've been doing this, handling challenges, especially for the last 10 years. 10 years ago, I died. I had a sudden cardiac arrest, which is, I will say, dying is the biggest challenge that we face. I've had chronic pain. I've had lots of challenges in my life. Physical challenges, emotional challenges, spiritual challenges, relationship challenges. Every area of my life, I've definitely been challenged and tested in, and had to apply the SOAP framework to move myself ahead, to make sure I was better off after that challenge than when I went into that challenge. Was I always better off before I started actually consciously applying a framework until it became unconscious or subconscious or below the surface? No, I didn't always come out better after a challenge then. And I'll have to think about that, because I'm thinking about, like, when I lost a job, I always came out better in the next job than the one I had lost, for whatever reason. So I don't know. I've obviously been applying this to myself for a really long time. So what do I want to do next with that? So today was day 40, but we're not done yet. Today is, however, my last day of committing to no sugar. I've had no sugar for, it'll be 40 days by the end of today now. And my granddaughter has been tempting me. I mean, she's shown up with muffins and pancakes and cookies and brownies. And she hasn't had cupcakes or cake so far, but otherwise, caramels. She hasn't brought caramels either, but a plethora of things that have tempted me, but I've been able to use my willpower and say no to each and every day, because I made a commitment to myself at the beginning of the challenge. I wasn't going to eat any sugar. I want to see if there's something that's tweaking my metabolism over the last few months. And I need to grab my blood pressure cup and check my blood pressure too, because at the end of last year I did a 90-day lower my blood pressure challenge, and I did a really good job lowering my blood pressure, but I have not been checking it and making sure that it's still down, because otherwise when I go to the cardiologist next, he's going to try to make me go on high blood pressure medicine, and I absolutely positively do not want to do that. I kind of refuse, but I especially don't want to do that. I do not personally handle pharmaceutical products very well. I have one pharmaceutical for my ICD, my internal cardiac device. It's a beta blocker that I supposedly have to take my whole life. I will admit, I did attempt to go off of that for about 1.5 years, and I did really well in terms of health and maintaining my well-being. Yet, when I went to the cardiologist, my blood pressure was through the roof, even though I was doing everything right to keep my blood pressure down, and ended up having to go back on that medication. It's one of those medications that the pharmaceutical industry has us taking for our entire life, especially if we have a device installed or if you have a transplant or something. There's things that you just have to take forever. At least that's the belief. We're going to see. I'm going to actually maybe start testing that belief. I'm testing it with blood pressure and on myself as an experiment. I'm going to do the same thing with the metropol. I'm going to maybe figure that out. Maybe, maybe not. Depend if I think it's of enough value to spend my time and energy on. So that is what I'm working on. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, hit me up in the comments below. Ask a question. If I don't know the answer, I will help you find somebody or something that can help you to unravel that, so you always know what to do next. And this is because I'm a recovering askaholic. I never asked anything or anti-asked anything. I am still not awesome at asking for help or asking questions or asking for what I need. I, for some reason, built into my psyche when I was younger that I can figure it out. I can do it myself. I don't need help. And that's, I keep getting life lessons that tell me, yeah, team up with people. You need help. Do this together. Don't try to do it all on your own. That's it. Have an amazing day. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow and let you know what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world. Take care.